Here we go. Netflix's Somebody Feed Phil takes viewers around the globe with Philip Rosenthal as he tries some of the world's greatest eateries. I'm Zach Laws of Gold Derby, and with me now is Philip Rosenthal. He's the
Hello.
creator and star. Thanks so much for being here. Let me ask you, first of all, you got this Emmy nomination for Best Unstructured Reality Program. You're no stranger to the Emmy race, but getting this nomination for this show, what does that mean for you?
It's my first unstructured anything. I usually like to be very structured.
Yeah,
If you
as
do a
we all do.
sitcom, the format is everything. You're on a very tight, 22 minutes. But in this world, I guess I'm very unstructured. Don't I look unstructured?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you look great. I'll say.
Thank you.
You bring up an interesting point, though. I mean, your background is in the sitcom world. Obviously, I
Yeah.
mean, you created Everybody Loves Raymond. How is this show? How is managing this show different from that one? Can you just extrapolate on that a bit
Well, I
more?
got to be honest. They're not that different in terms of storytelling and tone and sensibility. If you liked Raymond, I think you would see certain similarities. There's my parents, right? There's a guy who's maybe not as adventurous as some of the other people in this field going out there. In fact, you know how I sold the show? I said, I'm exactly like Anthony Bourdain if he was afraid of everything. And and so that sensibility is actually all I have to bring to the genre. And it was actually an episode of Raymond that got me thinking about a show like this because we did that show in Italy
Mhm.
where Ray was really reluctant to go in real life. And then when I saw what happened to the character that I wrote, him getting woke, I saw happen to the person. And since then, I think it was the year 2000 that we filmed that show. So almost 20 years ago, I said, wow, that to turn your friend on to something like this, the joy of travel, is everything. What if I could do this for other people? So now I'm taking everything I've learned about how to make a show, and it's now in the service of everything else I love in life: travel, food, laughs, family, friends, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the show does encapsulate all of those things. The thing that I guess is the major selling point is that you do get to see a lot of great food. And so I wonder, I mean, was this show just an excuse for you to get to try all the food of the world in that sense?
I know what you're saying. Is this a scam that I'm running?
Yeah.
Yes, in a way it is. Yes. I do love it, but I'm only using food and whatever stupid sense of humor that I have to get you to travel because I know that it will enrich your life. There's no more mind expanding thing we can do in life than travel. And so I think this is very worthwhile. And in today's day and age, just you going and being half decent as a human being, you're an ambassador, a very needed, necessary ambassador to the world. And we need that right now. And then what it does for you selfishly is it changes your entire perspective.
Yeah, and you mentioned Anthony Bourdain. I remember something he said once about how, trying another person's food is a
Yes,
window into their culture, you know.
absolutely. You're literally taking in the culture, right? And it's my favorite way.
Exactly. So now I wanted to ask you about the episode that you submitted for Emmy consideration. You submitted the New York City episode. Why that episode? What stuck out about it?
Most personal of that batch, right? Uh, I think when we were doing the New York episode, I was very worried because you want to do the definitive New York episode, and so I quickly realized I can't. First of all, I have an hour. Second, everybody's done New York something. It's the most filmed thing in the world. Is New York City. So what am I going to do? And then, like an idiot, it came to me. Well, like since I can't do that, I have to do my New York. And of course, that's the key to everything. Then it becomes universal. The more specific you get, the more universal the thing becomes. And so it's where I grew up. It's where I lived half my life. It's where I met my wife. It's everything to me. And so it's where my parents still live. I got to go to their apartment. I call it the birthplace of the blues, my mother's kitchen. And there are scenes in that show that I really couldn't have in any other show.
Right. I think one of the interesting things about that also is that, you travel the globe in this show, and New York City is a melting pot. It always
Yeah,
has been. And so
yeah.
you've got like food from the world all encapsulated in this one tiny little place.
Yes. What I realized quickly was also, I wanted to be as diverse as possible in that episode. And then by the end, what I realized what I had was this beautiful homage to immigration and how we all come from somewhere. And all these great chefs and people who live in New York, my parents included, all came from somewhere else. And that is New York and that is America. And it's important to see that today.
Absolutely, yeah. So I wonder, I mean, when you are, even though it says unstructured, I'm guessing that there must be some sort of what kind of a plan do you have to,
Yeah.
where you visit, who you talk with? I mean, how do you find that stuff?
There's obviously an outline. We can't just leave it all up to serendipity, although we leave room in the schedule for exactly that. And some of the best stuff happens when you leave it open that way. That's where the unstructured part comes in. And of course, everything we say in every scene has not been written. There's no acting on the show, there's no writing on the show. The only writing that comes in is in the VO afterwards and in, of course, editing. But everything else, I do have a production team. I actually have the same production team that Anthony Bourdain had,
Oh,
CPZ
wow.
0.0. So they're wonderful and they have fixers all over the world. And then I have what you have, which is your phone and Google. And we can go on there and find, things that interest us in every city. I tell people there's no excuse not to try the Peruvian restaurant down the street. You'll hear, well, I don't know anything about Peruvian food. Yes, but you have a phone. You can Google the menu. You could say, oh, they have chicken and rice. I like that. Yes, you like that. Go eat that. And before you know it, you're in Machu Picchu.
Yeah. You mentioned this being sort of an ode to immigration.
Yeah.
And I think that's, obviously there's a lot going on in the world right now. And that's something that it's a beneficial message, to hear. Was that something that was important for you to, not in the sense of like making a political statement,
No,
but
how is this political? This is
yeah,
human, right?
right.
And I would even say patriotic. The country was based on this. What does it say at the base of the Statue of Liberty?
It's
We
bring us
all
your
benefit.
poor, your, I haven't said it in a long time, but
But
you're,
we all benefit from it. We benefit from the melting pot. We benefit from the exchange of ideas alone.
mhm.
And we
Yes.
benefit just because we all come from somewhere. Uh, am I consciously trying to put this out there? No, I wanted to do this show 20 years ago. So it was always a celebration of people, a celebration of connecting with people. That's all we want to do on the planet is connect with somebody. The joy I have from this show, it's been a gift to me to be able to make friends around the world and to hear from people now because of things like this and social media. People can DM me and they send me pictures of themselves sitting in Lisbon at the exact place that they saw me sitting. I couldn't love anything more. So whatever happens with the awards, but it's all great. The awards to me is just this kind of very nice validation that you're on the right track and that people like it, right? And hopefully Netflix notices and lets me keep doing it.
I was going to ask, I mean, what's next on your travel list for another season of this show?
Yeah, I start up again August 19th. We're doing 2 more seasons, 5 each, and I don't think I'm allowed to tell you where. I think they like to keep that secret.
Okay, all right. Well, I had to ask.
You're a good journalist.
Thank you, thank you. Let me ask you a little bit about, you mentioned awards, and you have won 2 Emmys for your work on Everybody Loves Raymond. Can you just talk a bit about what that meant for you and for everyone involved in that show?
I've always said that just to get the pilot read, just to get it read by someone at CBS, oh, that would be the goal. Can you get this to someone there? And then beyond that, will they like it? That's all you think about. Everything else, getting the green light to go ahead with casting, approving the cast, making your pilot, the pilot going, the pilot getting on, the series taking off a little bit, getting renewed that first season. Every single one of those things is not winning the jackpot. It's winning the jackpot over and over and over. So, Mr. Gold Derby, good name. That's what it is. It's like hitting another gigantic jackpot that you never dreamed possible. All you're doing in your room by yourself is hoping that one other person takes an interest like you have. That's it. Everything else, gravy, 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 Gold Derby.
Well, and then also, I mean, you mentioned just people taking an interest. You know, this show has
Yeah.
been in syndication for over a decade now. You know, so I mean, and even you did a documentary called "Exporting Raymond," which is all
Yes,
about the Russian version
which
of
was
it.
a direct link to this show.
Talk a bit about how that was.
Show.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the Russians wanted me to come and turn my sitcom into Everybody Loves Kostya. And so I had to do it. This was a life opportunity. And I said I would do it if I could document the whole thing, if I could bring cameras and film it. And they said, okay. And then it was crazy. The movie's been shown again recently, I think because the Russians are big again. They're back in the news. I advise people to watch it. You will not, I can honestly say you'll never see anything like it. And if you like the Somebody Feed Phil show, this is kind of where the roots of that are in me. Even the Skyping with my parents started there quite by accident. Mm-hmm. And they were the hit of that show too.
Considering that there have been so many revivals and recently, you know, I wonder, have you guys ever thought about where the Barones are, you know, in the decades since you guys went off the air?
And unfortunately, the answer is some of them aren't with us anymore.
Yeah.
Never dream of doing a kind of reunion series. What I would do is a special. I would gladly do a special where we sit and talk, and you see where all the actors are today and how far they've come, and reminisce. And we all have, I think, pretty funny stories, the writers and the actors. We even did this for a while. We went on the road, the writers room. We each would tell a story of something terrible that happened to us at home, and then we could show a clip of the episode that became. So I can envision a special where we do that, and then we show our outtakes and our bloopers and behind the scenes stuff and everything. And it's a great way to catch up, reminisce about this show if you like it, without having to put on the old clothes and go through the motions of the you know, it's very rare for me. This is my taste. Very rare that these things work or that you like them as much as the original. Yeah, nothing wrong with everyone in real life talking about it.
And it would be hard to do it without Peter Boyle and Doris Roberts. I mean, what was that special quality that the two of them had, you know?
Well, first of all, brilliant actors with brilliant timing and wonderful faces and theater backgrounds and comedy backgrounds. You know, I'm the luckiest guy in the world to have that cast. That cast was an all-star basketball team where everybody could score. Everybody. That doesn't happen all the time. You know, there's sometimes you have to write around people whose strengths aren't delivering the funny line or holding for the laugh, or you get the laugh just on the face, right? But we had that. And I was blessed. And I like to think that we had good writing. That's all we had. Good writing, good acting, right?
Yeah.
And something to say about the lives we were living at the time. We were experiencing the very same thing that the Barones were experiencing. That's where all the stories came from, you know, which I took from Carl Reiner, the way he did Dick Van Dyke. What happened at your house this week? If you worked for me, your job was to go home, get in a fight with your wife, come back in and tell me about it.
What a job to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Phil, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on the Emmy nomination for your show.
Thank you so much. I'm going to beat that deadly catch, I think. I think
we can
listen, they go out and they catch that stuff, but I actually have to put it in my mouth.
I know you are the final arbiter of whether or not their mission was all worth it. You know,
was it worth it? Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks to all you at home for watching. Make sure you click the like and subscribe button below, and make sure you visit us at goldderby.com for all the latest Emmy news.